All right, cool. We are live. So this will be mostly a Charger channel, but I do want to cover a certain amount of topics today. Now, I know the biggest thing going on has been kind of like the running back market. Recently, what Saquon and Josh Jacobs didn't sign their franchise tag tenure. Us being Charger fans, like we kind of realized what was going on with Austin Eckler and him not getting the money he felt he deserved. And I just wanted to put in my 2 cents when it comes into the running back position. And this one is tough, man, because the way the game has changed, like running backs still carry value, but there's a few. Here's the problem for me: it is a salary cap league, and the biggest issue with me is that you have to invest so much money into the quarterback. Which at least, like, let's say for example, if I'm talking about the Chargers, you're going to have to pay Justin Herbert coming up. Next year, we're going to be 60 mil over the salary cap. You still got Rashawn Slater you're eventually going to have to sign. And a lot of those pieces on that offensive line that are more important, I think. And then you're going to have to pay. Look at how much we're paying like Joey Bosa and everyone else on the team. I just think, unfortunately, for the running back position, that just money is usually better allocated to different positions than it is the running back position because unlike the running back position, a lot of the other positions like defensive end, quarterback, wide receiver are not always the easiest to find as undrafted players or in free agency. They are harder to come around. So I think that's kind of why this is happening versus a lot of teams can draft running backs third, fourth, fifth round. I mean, look at what Isaiah Pacheco did last year for the Chiefs, and he was a seventh round draft pick. We've seen a lot of undrafted players go out and play well for the running back position. I just think you have more options typically, and then not only do you have more options typically, teams can go out and play running back by committee instead of paying one dude a lot of money, which I think really changes the landscape for running backs. Um, so here, the weird part is that I'm not even a huge proponent of paying wide receivers a ton of money. Like I think wide receivers are way overpaid because I think the most important places to put your money is quarterback, offensive line, and defensive line, and then corners, right? Because if you have those pieces together, I think it opens up every aspect of your game. Like if you don't have a top wide receiver, but you have a good quarterback and a good offensive line, those two positions combined will make the other receivers better by default because the quarterback gets more time. The wide receivers will get more time to create space and be able to run routes. Same thing. If you don't have a high end running back, if you have a good offensive line, they will be able to create better holes for him. Now, again, it's not to say that players, because I mean, Austin Eckler has been an absolute beast, and not any player can replicate his stats. But like I said, it's like you can play this by committee and you can still get value out of different players at that position versus paying a running back a ton of money where where you could allocate in better places. Having a good offensive line will make anyone you put in the backfield a lot better, or even at wide receiver. Same thing for me when it comes on defense. The better defensive line you have, the more pressure you can get to the quarterback without having to blitz will make your corners better. But even having better corners gives the defensive line more time to get to the QB to cause more pressure. I think those two go hand in hand, but especially the defensive line because it makes everyone else better. They can either pick up a ton of blocks where it gives the linebackers enough space to get tackles. Same thing with the safeties. If they get to the quarterback faster, it means the corners don't have to go. They don't have to be in coverage as long because you can't stick to a wide receiver forever. It's really tough to do that. That's why I feel like the running back market is down, right? And then I think unfortunately for like the running back market, they had too many players that got paid, especially in a row that just didn't pan out. We already know about Todd Gurley, Zeke, and then I think the only one that's here's the thing, even Christian McCaffrey got paid, but then even then he got hurt pretty much since he's been paid. Last year he had a good year, but he got traded. And that's kind of my like thing with the running back position. As much I grew up playing the running back position, I love the running back position. I think it was a very fun position, but I do think two things have to change. I do think um, on the bargaining agreement, the running back should have a shorter contract. Um, I just don't think they should be able to have 4 years plus the fifth year option. I think their contract should expire after have like a 2 plus 1 year. You have your 2 years, and if you can extend them a year, okay, fine. Do that, and I think then they should be able to get at least one big contract. So I think that would help the running back market. Um, Outside of that, I think running back just has to evolve. That position has to evolve because they do get asked to do a lot, right? They got to block. They take a lot of punishment. They set the tone for the game. They have to pick up tough yards. And nowadays, if you are the best type of back, you're able to be on the backfield and go out and be a great receiver as well. Um, but I do think the running back position is going to have to evolve, where like maybe they will be like kind of more like what Asante, not Asante, who am I thinking of right now? 49ers wide receiver Samuels. I'm not picking up the first name, but he's playing a lot of running back, but he's also doing but he's mainly a wide receiver. He's listed as a wide receiver. I think running backs are going to have to evolve into that, where it's like you're a wide receiver, and the team can put you out as a wide receiver, but you can still be a running back. Like you can pick up the value in both places. I think that's just kind of have to like how that position is going to have to evolve, or someone like even Alvin Kamara, who's never had 1,000 yards rushing, but he's been a great player, being able to catch the ball and being extremely dangerous that way. Austin Eckler, I think, could even be a great slot receiver. I just think the position's going to have to evolve in that sense where you just can't be a straight runner. You have to be able to play wide receiver. But outside of that, man, I feel like the running back position is just in a bad place right now. Like the fact that some top running backs are just not getting money. Josh Jacobs, I think, was a great player. Saquon does make me a little nervous because of his injury history. Um, I've even heard maybe they'll even have their own pot in order to be able to get incentives at the end of the year that would be strictly just for running backs, which I wouldn't be against. But I do think contracts should be shorter because, I mean, man, I grew up in a running back era watching like LT, Alexander, so many great running backs at the time that it's like to see the way the position is kind of dying out and how undervalued they are. Because don't get me wrong, I understand like why they don't get paid out the same way that other positions do. Um, but it's like, damn, to this extent, I didn't think it was this bad. Like Austin, man, as much as I would love to for him to stay a Charger, the truth is we're not gonna have the cap space, and he is reaching an age where running backs usually die down. They take a lot of contact, um, and I don't know. It's tough because I do love Austin around, but it's weird. Like I said, I would rather allocate that money. Like the way the Chargers have constructed their team, I wasn't a big fan of. I don't like all of the contract restructures. I think they should have done what the Kansas City Chiefs done. They managed their salary cap extremely well, and the Chiefs are able to build around Mahomes year in and year out because they have actually really constructed their team in a way where they don't have to depend on so many big contracts. I mean, the fact that the Chiefs won without how many star players really? They don't have a ton. And I like how intelligent they're running their organization versus the Chargers. We're extremely top heavy, and I hate that, man. I don't like the fact that we're so top heavy because injuries derailed us last year, and injuries this year could derail us if, like, I think we could be a Super Bowl team, but again, if we get hurt, we're so top heavy that because we pay so many guys so much money that a few injuries can really derail our season, which I really dislike. And we are a team that's known for being injured, so I'm not a big fan of that. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I am a little sleepy because I've been up all day and been kind of into fitness a lot right now. But those are my things, man, that I'm just concerned about, right? Another thing I wanted to put in my 2 cents, like I mentioned, I don't even think we should be paying the wide receiver that much money, right? Like wide receivers now are commanding like 30 mil a year. I think that's crazy. Imagine you pay a quarterback 55 million a year. Let's just say 50 million a year, round it a little low. And then you pay a wide receiver 80 million a year. What is the salary cap right now for the NFL teams? Like 220? You're going to take that much of your salary cap on two players when you have a 53-man roster? I think that's just absurd, man. And here's the thing, if you probably name all the top 5 wide receivers, right? Devontae Adams, no Super Bowl. You look at who would be another Jamar Chase. He's been to a Super Bowl but didn't win one. And then again, him and Joe Burrow are still in rookie contracts. When they have to pay those two, I don't understand how they're going to be able to build a team to win, because they are going to take command so much salary cap that they would have to completely destroy that team. Um, Justin Jefferson again, no Super Bowl. What's another top receiver? There's only one top receiver that I know that has won one in the past, and that is Tyreek Hill. And and then the Chiefs were able to win without Tyreek Hill, which then says even more to me about that. And I don't even I don't even think Tyreek Hill was the best part of that offense. I just think he added an element to it that other teams struggled with because of Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce to me is a wide receiver, top wide receiver in the league. Man, like, screw the tight end position, man. This guy is incredible. And being a Chargers fan is really hard to admit that, but he is absolutely incredible. Can never take that away from him. He is an absolute beast. He is probably maybe the only player. Now, again, I know he's a tight end, but man, he's basically to me a wide receiver. He's worth to me more than certain wide receivers, like what he does for the Chiefs. Um, but outside of that, man, if you name most of the top wide receivers, they don't win Super Bowls anymore. They command too much money. Again, you have to pay the quarterback. That's just a must. And then build offensive, defensive line, and corners. I think you build those, allocate that money to those positions. Everyone else gets better. Um, and I also think skill players are easier to draft. Maybe not easier, but you can find more of them in the draft. I think offensive linemen are really hard to find kind of in later rounds. I think usually offensive linemen take a little more time to develop. So in my situation, that's why I usually like building those first. And I feel like if you build those, they set such a good foundation for your organization and everyone else on your team that I think you can build a dynasty off that, especially for the Chargers who have, such a stud at QB. And I think that's going to be one of the things that makes him so great this year, is going to be able to have the time to throw the ball and have all the weapons that he does is only going to make it that much more dangerous, especially now that we have an absolutely stud at OC. Um, God, man, if I can, I ranted so much about the Lombardi garbage last year but whatever, we're on to new and better things. But like I said, man, that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. I know people might disagree. I know a lot of people love the running back position. I sure did, but it is more of a passing league. It's not saying that these players shouldn't be paid. I just feel like the running back, I don't know if they have to have their own. It's just hard. It's a very difficult position. I don't think you can allocate so much money to that position, but to find somewhere in between where players that are incredible like Eckler, Jacobs, Saquon, to be able to get the money they deserve is also, I think, crucial to, figure that out as well for them. Because, man, I mean, you don't want the running back position to die out, because I think it's such an exciting position. I think it's so much fun, especially coming to like fantasy football. And yeah. Anyways, man, that's just my 2 cents. I'm throwing that out there. I am going to start bringing in more Charger content now going forward. Now that we're getting closer to the season, I kind of want to talk about a lot of like what the Chargers need to do, and I kind of want to go to levels of this, and I really want to go in because I love to criticize my team because I love my team, so I want to criticize them. I'm loving the way the team is looking. I don't like the salary situation. I don't like how we constructed this team financially, but just based off position and looking at how this team is looking, I think we're going to be deadly this year if we can stay healthy. And my biggest concern, my one concern, is Brandon Staley. Now, again, this is going to be a whole different video, man, because Brandon, I am not accepting anything outside of you making this a top 5 defense. You came in here as a defensive-minded coach, and you know what? I'm going to cover this on a different video. I'm ready to rant about this. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the running back market at the moment. I do want to get more creative with this video, so I just got to start posting. That's what I'm going to do. And for the moment being, I'm out. Peace.